how have you all been? Today is Friday, March 17th, and I am back for my stitching update. It's been the usual 2 weeks since my last one, so I hope you've all been doing well and you've been creating all of the things. If you are brand new to my channel, welcome. My name is Olivia, and this is Pumpkin Hollow Quilts. This is a channel where I usually talk about my cross stitching as well as my quilting. However, if quilting is not something you're interested in seeing or hearing about, I show it a little bit later on in the video, and I will let you know in plenty of time that they will be making their appearance, so that way you can go on to the next Flosstube video. And if you are a returning subscriber, welcome back. So how have you guys all been? Hope you had a good 2 weeks since we last sat down to chat. I do want to say a great big thank you to all of you guys. Last week I received a notification from YouTube saying that my channel had surpassed 1 million views on YouTube. And I couldn't have done it without all of you guys, without your love and support. So thank you so very much to all of you guys who watch my video, for commenting, just for everything. Thank you so very much. This channel would not be where it's at today without you guys. So thank you so very, very much. Also, thank you for watching my previous video. I know that there's so much Flosstube to be watched now, and I appreciate the time that you guys spend with me. I know time is precious, so thank you so very much. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and start talking about what I've been working on over the past 2 weeks. This first one, I left it in the hoop. I took it with me when I took my grandma to the doctor or to the dentist, and I was working on it in the waiting room. And I don't know if anybody else takes, I'm sure a lot of you guys take your cross stitch out in the wild and you work on it. Whenever I do, I can always tell the moment I start locking on me, because I'm sitting there and I'm doing something that must be completely foreign to the people sitting there. I can only imagine what they must be thinking. There was one lady that did come over to see what it was I was doing, and I showed her, and she said she did cross stitch years ago. She didn't know people still did that, and of course I talked her ear black and blue. I'm fairly certain that she regretted coming over. But I was working on Keeper of the Pins by Brenda Gervais with Thy Needle and Thread, and I was doing Dame of the Needle. So that is what it looks like. And here it is. So I'm stitching it on a piece of 36 count Vintage Country Mocha, and I am using the called for threads, and I'm stitching it 1/2. I love this one. I love everything. I love the whole series. I love all of the colors. I cannot wait to have them all done. I definitely need to start thinking about finding some sort of a wooden tray for them to go into, but I love it. It's such a fun project to work on. The needle minder, in case you're wondering, is from Mad for Minders, and if you are a fan of the TV show Supernatural, this was the license plate on Baby. So love working on this. And it does make a great travel project. Next up is Elizabeth Furniss 1836 by Hands Across the Sea Samplers. So I am stitching this with Yvette and Christy and Becky. And our assignment for March was to work down in this area here and finish the grass and then the animals that are there. So that is what, let's see, I've worked on this for 2 nights, I think now. And it's actually going a lot quicker, the grass area is. And I even told you about that last night. I said either I'm just imagining it or it seems to be going a lot quicker in the grass area. And she told me it was going a lot quicker. So this is what I have done so far. Absolutely love this sampler. It is so gorgeous. I'm stitching it on a piece of 40 count Bee's Knees by Seraphim Fabrics, and I am stitching it with the DMC conversion that is listed on the chart. Love it. So I will continue working on it until I get the grass portion done, which, let me see if I can do this. So I stitched it, so right here is where the side of the page breaks. So basically everything this way I have to stitch. It looks like a lot, but when you're stitching over it and you're looking down at it, it's not that bad. I pretty much finished all of the animals except there's like a duck right here. And then there's like a big block of the same color of green. So like some of these parts that I have open are just a big block of color. And those ones get going pretty fast. I did do the over one sheep, which I think it looks terrible, but I don't really think anybody but me is gonna notice how terrible it looks. I tried really hard to. I had magnification and all sorts of stuff on it, but stitching over one with white thread stinks. So I don't think it looks that great, but hopefully once I get all of the green around it, it won't look that bad. So this is my progress so far. And I know I've said this before, but I will be personalizing this with my great grandparents' names. And I'm just kind of waiting until I get back to the top border here and then go down the side. And then that way I know exactly what it is that I have to work with for personalizing. So love it, love it, love it. My next project is All Joys for Thine by Blackbird Designs. So I showed this in my last video, and my intention had been to just rotate it later on in the month or the beginning of April. But after I finished working on my assignment on Houses of Hare and Hollow, I just felt the urge to go back and work on this one. So I thought maybe I would get a finish, but it's pretty close. I lost an entire evening of stitching because I had to do some unpicking. Somewhere up in here, I don't know. I started the leg of the X going over 2, and on the second leg I went over 1, and I got a new pair of glasses and they have bifocals in them, and I'm trying to get used to wearing bifocals. So that's what I'm blaming it on. I'm stitching All Joys for Thine on a piece of 40 count vintage lentil with the called for threads, and I am stitching it 1 over 2. And the linen Vintage Lentil is by Lakeside Linens. I love this one. Love, love. So I do plan on returning to All Joys for Thine after I finish my March assignment on Elizabeth. The next project is The Houses of Hare and Hollow by Carriage Sampling. So I am also stitching this one with Yvette and Becky. And we are working on this block here. And what we decided to do is each month we just do a quarter of the block. So in April, I will have the whole block finished. And here is my progress. So I just have the roof left to stitch, and then I really do need to, so this next row here, I want to personalize it with my name, and I was going to put 2023, even though I don't actually know when I will finish this entire village of houses. But at least the year I started it will be on here. And then maybe at some point I will put the ending year of when I finished it. So I did finish stitching the house, which I did in a mustard color. I also decided not to fill in the windows. I don't know how well the camera's picking it up, but I basically took white thread and did around the trim. And I just have the roof left to go. There is a vine that goes across here, and then the personalization that I need to do. So all of that I will do in April. I love working on this one. It's so much fun. I just love having a Hare and Hollow in my rotation. So I'm stitching Houses of Hare and Hollow on a piece of 40 count Heritage by Picture This Plus, and I'm using DMC threads, and I'm stitching it 1 over 2. Love it. My last project was Spooky Countdown by the Primitive Hare, and I am stitching mine all on 1 piece. So this one I've been working on in the morning, and I worked on it last week. And if I calculated the weeks right, I should be 1 week ahead, because that way next week I can continue working on Keeper of the Pins, and then the following week I'll come back to Spooky Countdown. But here is my progress. So I am stitching Spooky Countdown on a piece of 36 count jack-o'-lantern by XJUDesigns, and I'm stitching it with DMC threads 1/2. I did make one little change in this block right here, which is the 11th day. There was supposed to be like a little, like a double character there. And normally stitching it doesn't, bother me at all. I don't have any problem, stitching it. But my grandma does come visit me during the Halloween season. And I know if she saw it, she would not like it. So I instead stitched it to look like Oogie Boogie from Nightmare Before Christmas. And I also decided to stitch it in green. You're supposed to stitch it in the DMC orange. And since Oogie Boogie is kind of like a greenish white, I just stitched him in the green. And I just altered him a little bit. So instead of putting horns, I just put, I just did it like Oogie Boogie, where it goes up into a point. And it kind of curls around, so it looks like a marshmallow topping. That's the top of Oogie Boogie's head. So that's how I did it. So anyway, I like it. I think it's really cute. And hopefully none of you guys will give me any grief for it. But, when I looked at the whole series, or looked at each block, that was one where I thought, if I stitch it and then she comes over, I know she won't like seeing it. And it only takes me a moment to fix it. So, yeah. She tolerates Halloween. She used to really like it. But then, the older she's gotten, she just kind of tolerates it. Because she's bought me Halloween decor before. She brought me back a little witch from Sleepy Hollow. And she's brought me like other Halloween decorations that I put up every year. But it seems like the last like 5 years, I can tell it makes her really uncomfortable. And so I try to make sure that, and I'm not somebody that decorates with horror or anything like that when I do Halloween, but I definitely am really mindful of knowing that she comes over to visit and just not wanting to put anything that I know might upset her. And so, and I was also really worried that when I altered the appearance of that block, that I was going to get a little bit of grief, because I did when I eliminated the spider from the Boo block. And anyway, just want to remind everybody that it is my sampler that I'm working on. And I'm just adjusting it to fit me a little bit more. So I did have some finishes over the past 2 weeks, and I think in my last video I talked about having the husband cut down some thrift store frames for me, which he did. He did it the weekend after my video came out, and then they basically sat waiting for me to paint, or put them together and then paint them. And I realized the other day that I had a video coming up today and I needed to get them fully finished. So it's a good thing the video is coming up. It definitely motivated me to get my keister in gear so I could get them finished. The first one is Spring Has Come by the Prairie Schooler. So this one is a redo of an old finish. And here it is. So the husband cut down a thrift store frame and I painted it. So I first painted it in black, then I went in with sandpaper and kind of roughed it up, and then I went in with green, and so then I did green and black, and I just kind of like worked with it until I got the color that I was, or the look I was going for. So here it is. I really love it. So I'm glad to have this one in a frame. I had previously finished it on a piece of sticky board. There was 2 pieces of sticky board, and I think I showed this one after I had finished the winter. I'm not sure if it's I'm not sure if there was like a seasonal where it was like winter, spring, summer, fall, but I have winter out in the other room. I showed it a couple of videos back, and this is the one that I showed where you could see it was on the two pieces of mat board, and then I showed that it had magnets on the back of it. So I finished it like Priscilla style, and had it that way for the last couple of years, but I also had not displayed it beyond that first year because the way that I had fully finished it didn't really fit in with my style. And when I started, you know, framing my own stuff, I knew that this was one that I wanted to get reframed. So it was glued onto the sticky board. Well, it was attached to the sticky board and then it was glued behind it. And thankfully, I did not cut it to fit. I mean, I had left a lot of the, you know, I had left it in, you know, a larger piece. So it was a lot easier to work with. Thank goodness. I don't have too many more refinishing to do. I just have a couple. And then I will have everything that I had previously finished that I want to put into a frame. I'm getting to the end of that list. So I love this one. So the linen that I stitched it on was a 32 count that I had tea coffee dyed. And I did stitch this with DMC threads. The change was in this little area here. I forget what the so it's charted with something, but the series had 4 extra blocks and I swapped and I put this one in, and I can't remember what was there, but I wanted the chicken with her chicks. I love it. My next finish is also a redo of an old finish, and it is Hello Spring by Plum Street Samplers. I cannot remember when I first finished it. I don't think I was doing Flosstube. I think this was a year or two before, so I might have finished this 2017, 2018. I left off the wording down here because I had stitched all of these to fit on a wooden box that I had. And so these were put onto, so this was, the stitched piece was mounted onto a piece of sticky board and then mounted onto another piece of sticky board. And then I put 2 magnets on the back and then I stuck it to the front of this box and I just switched them out seasonally. But they have not been out for probably 2-3 years. And it's one of those ones that, you know, it was in a drawer, and every time I would go into the drawer and rummage around in there, I see the stack of stuff in there that I know I need to refinish. So I'm glad to finally have this one done. I don't remember what I stitched it on. I'm pretty sure it was a 36 count. I think they were all stitched on 36 count. The linen I would have got a 1, 2, 3 stitch, and I just don't remember what the name of it was. I did stitch it with DMC threads that I converted myself, and I stitched it 2/2. The frame was cut down from a larger thrift store frame. I painted it black, and then I went in with silver rub and buff and got this little lip here and all the way around filled in. And then once it was dry, I went back in with some more black paint and I tried to make it look like it had worn away. So it looked like an old frame. I think it's pretty close. And then I also finished it with a piece of craft paper. And the only thing left to do is to attach a hanger. And then this will hang down the hallway. So all of these pieces were, I took a piece of mat board, 3 pieces of batting, and I laced them onto it. This piece here, I had to attach some linen because I had cut it, so it was on the mat board and then it was wrapped around, and I only had about 1/2 inch, and I had hot glued it. And trying to get these pieces off of the mat board is one thing, or the sticky board, but trying to get them off the sticky board when you have hot glued the back is a pain. And I almost thought that this was going to end up in the trash. I did rip it a little bit, it wasn't very far, and it's way back here. So I was really glad. But yeah, it almost ended up in the trash. And it does, I mean, it's not a perfect finish. I can see up towards the top, I can see where there's a little bit of the glue, but luckily I got it to where any of that stuff is like up in the frame. So I just figured if I did rip it or it didn't turn out, I would just rebuy the chart and restitch it. But thankfully I don't have to do that. And then my last finish is one that I had showed finished either last video or the video before. And that is Flock of Friends by Blackbird Designs. So this again is a thrift store frame that was cut to size. I went in with, it was kind of it wasn't brown. It was sort of a cross between tan and brown, like kind of right in there, in between those colors. Painted it, gave it 2 coats of that paint. Then I went in and distressed it with sandpaper, rubbed it down with antiquing wax, and then I took mustard colored paint and I went in and just sort of zhuzhed it and made it look like originally it was, or made it look like that it had been painted with yellow paint that had chipped away over the centuries, and then the brown paint was what it was originally painted in. Basically, I was just trying to pull the house colors out. And I think I did pretty good. I was on the fence about it. I thought maybe I had went a little bit too far with that mustard color paint. But in the end, I think it looks okay. I love it. So I stitched this on a piece of 40 count Vintage Country Mocha, and I use the called for over dies that are listed on the chart. And I stitched it 1/2. And it has 800 mistakes in it, and I love it. So a lot of fun. And Flock of Friends is in the Blackbird book called Sarah's House. Over the past 2 weeks, I did get a little bit of Happy Mail. I also did get a couple of the things that I had ordered from Market. One of the things is out for delivery today, and I had hoped it would be here by now, but it's not going to make it. So I will show that next time. I ordered 3 charts from by Brenda Gervais, and I ordered it from the Farmer's Attic on Etsy. Everything that I bought is small. I didn't buy anything that was a big sampler because I already have so many of those that I need to stitch already. So I kept it small. And the promise that I made to myself was that I would have these 3 things stitched between now and next Market, or I'm not allowed to buy anything. So the first thing I got was My Home Sweet Home by Brenda Gervais. I love this. So I know I'm going to stitch this in the next couple of months because I just love it. Love it, love it. Spring Awakens by Brenda Gervais. So cute. I just love it. Love it, love it. Love it, love it, love it. And The Robins Are Here, also by Brenda Gervais. And this one I would like to stitch sometime in the next month. I would like to work on this. It won't take very long, and it's not very big. It is 83, so stitch count is 83 wide by 45 high, and the finished size is 4 1/8 by 2 1/4. So it's not that big. So my other Market, or the other chart that I ordered from Market, I'll show it next time. If I wouldn't have bought that, there is a chart I would have bought called Channing Street by Annie B's Folk Art. I had it in my shopping cart, and then I saw that Blackbird had released this book, and that's the one I bought. So I'll show it next time. So I did receive a package from Annie, the proper stitcher. She sent me this card, and I think it's so cool that she's got her logo right here. Might need to look into doing that. And she sent me a bunny thread keep, which I think is so funny because I had this coming. So I will be using this when I stitch this, and it's so perfect. I love it. I love vintage everything, so I love the fact that it's got a vintage bunny on it. So thank you so much, Annie. And then I received something super cool in the mail from Jamie. So she had sent me this card here, but she said it was actually it was a happy belated birthday. And she stitched me this. Can you believe it? I couldn't believe it when I opened up her envelope and I saw this in there. I could not believe that she had taken the time to stitch this for me, because I don't know that I would be that generous. But I love it. So I believe this is a Plum Street chart, and I want to say it's George something Pumpkins with Martha. I can't remember what the exact title of it is, but it is a Plum Street chart. And I do have this chart, so I will be digging it out and offering it up as a future giveaway. But I love this. And I did go to the thrift store yesterday, and I did find a frame that I think will be perfect. So I love it, love it, love it. So thank you so much, Jamie. This is beyond generous. I just can't even. I love it, love it, love it. So thank you, thank you. And I'm hoping to have it framed in my next video. And I'm not changing a thing, because she told me that I could grunge it up and just kind of throw my sort of prim style on it, but I am not doing anything to it. I'm leaving it exactly as she stitched it. That way I will always have her, I will always remember her stitching it for me and just having that remembrance of her kindness. So thank you. I also received a package from Vicki, and she sent me this card. And she had been going through her stash, and she had come across some that she wanted to pass along to me to either keep or offer up as giveaways, and some of these will be giveaways. The first is a chart by Little Robin Designs called Peaceful Kingdom. I will be stitching this. Love it. Next is Little House Needleworks October Party. So cute. Love it. Love it, love it. The Scarlet House Little Deed Sampler. Adorable. Love it, love it. And I know I say that a lot, but I literally love everything. Pumpkins Please by Erica Michaels. Adorable. Rackstraw Hill by Rosewood Manor. I really like this one. I've never seen it before. And I just really like it. It's different. I just love it. I think it's great. Then by Lottie Dot, Little Annie Lewis. I've never seen this one. Love it. From Barbara Anna Designs, The Feathered Whispers. Cute. There was somebody here on Flosstube that I remember watching, and she had been working on this. Very pretty. And by Brenda Gervais, Tree of Life Sampler. I love this one. And then she had some quilt books. The first one is by Kim Deal. It's called Simple Christmas Tidings. I love Kim Deal. And from Kim Deal and Joe Morton, so my two favorite designers, Simple Friendships 2. Love it. Kim Deal, Simple Whatnots. Love it. Love this quote right here. Love it, love it. I've been flipping through these books over the past week. Red White Quilts 2. And I think it's just from Martingale. So it must be a bunch of designers, I think. So pretty. Joe's Little Favorites by Joe Morton. I'm pretty sure I have this one, so I think this one will be a giveaway a little bit later on. Joe's Little Favorites 3. I would someday love to have a stack of quilts that look like that. Love it. Barbara Brackman's Civil War Sampler. So I do have this one, so it will be a future giveaway. Joe's Little Favorites 2. I think I might also have this one. I remember I had bought a bunch of them one time. Vintage Treasures by Pam Buddha. Pam Buddha is an amazing designer. Simple Friendships by Kim Deal and Joe Morton. Can you imagine those two ladies in a room teaching a class? I bet you it would just be amazing. Step Back in Time, Step Back in Time by Paula Barnes. I love this one. And my personal favorite, Tried and True by Joe Morton. So this one will be in today's group of giveaways. So awesome. So thank you so very much, Vicki. And I meant to tell you that it was a good thing that you had put all of these in a plastic envelope, because the box you sent it in must have been at the bottom of the mail carrier truck and it must have been soaking wet. So if you hadn't have put it in that waterproof envelope, they would have gotten ruined. We've had a ton of rain here. It's really nice today. It's supposed to be 60. We've had like a couple of days of really nice weather, but like all last week and the beginning of this week, it just was like torrential downpours. And so it just happened to arrive on a day when it was soaking wet. And I'm so glad that she had put it in a weatherproof package, because I would have hated if they had gotten ruined. So thank you so very much, ladies. It was so very sweet of you, and look for some of these items in future giveaways. So in my last video, I did have a giveaway, and thank you so very much to everyone who played along. The question that I had asked was, you know, had you pre-ordered anything from Nashville Needlework Market, or did you add anything to your wish list? It was pretty split. Some people bought and some people just put on wish lists, and there was no wrong answer. But thank you so very much for sharing all of that with me. As you can see, I did pre-order a couple of things. I wasn't going to. I was staying really like, I don't need to buy anything. And I was just kind of waiting to see what Blackbird came out with. But I really loved the Brenda Gervais charts that I got. I also really had a hard time not buying everything Stacy Nash came out with, because I would have. I loved the drums. I loved the little smalls that she did. I loved everything. She knocked it out of the park this year. And I was like, no. But it's okay. It'll still be there, and I'll get it down the road at some point. And then, of course, I was going to buy Channing House, as I had mentioned, by Annie B's Folk Art. But I saw that Blackbird had the new booklet out, and it had a chart in there that's been sitting on my unicorn wish list forever, and I saw it was in there, and I could not get my credit card out fast enough. So at some point I will pick up Channing Street, but I'm pretty happy with the 4 things that I bought, and none of it's going to go anywhere. You know, none of the other charts are going to go anywhere, or at least I hope not. So in the meantime, I will just enjoy stitching what I did purchase. But I want to thank everybody for playing along and for answering the question. So there were 3 giveaways up for grabs, and number 1 was a kit by Heartstring Samplery called Apostles' Creed. This is what it looked like. So it comes with the chart and the linen and the threads to stitch it. And the winner is Florence Yavino. Number 2 was for the Houses of Hawthorne Hollow by Carriage House Samplings, and the winner is Norma Callahan. And number 3 was for the Civil War tribute patterns, and the winner is Carrie B. So congratulations to the winners. If you can get a hold of me via email, and I will put my email information down below, contact me via email and send me your address. I will get these charts out in the mail to you. And as always, thank you so very much for playing. Okay, so I apologize if it feels like I'm rushing through this part of the video. I don't mean to. I just know that my husband and my son will be home any minute, and I'll have to pause. And it's always really hard when you pause to try to come back and figure out what you were doing. So this video also has a giveaway, and what you will need to do to be eligible to play along is make sure you're a subscriber, like the video, and answer the question down below. There are 5 prizes up for grabs, so somewhere in your answer you will just need to indicate which items 1 through 5 you are interested in winning, and then in my next video I will announce the winners. And also the reason why I have you number it is because that is how I search for the winners. So I do the random comment picker, and then I just put like 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then it pulls those names, and then shuffles them. So number 1 is the Sweetheart Tiny Tin by Lori Birmingham Designs. So this is what it looks like. And it is a kit, so you get everything you need to make it. If you're interested in that, it is number 1. Number 2 is also for a kit called Plant, Pull, and Grow. It is designed by Diane Arthurs of Imaginating. So if you're interested in this, it is number 2. It is a kit, so there is Ada inside, and then it also has the threads. So this is number 2. Number 3 is a use chart by me called Happy Birthday America by Brenda Gervais. So I stitched this last year. So it is a use chart, pass the stash sort of deal. And if you're interested in it, it is number 3. Number 4 is a duplicate chart that I found in my stash. It is by Heartstring Samplery, and it is called Consider the Lilies. So if you are interested in this, it is number 4. And number 5, I just got to pause really quickly to get it. And number 5 is Tried and True by Joe Morton. So if you're interested in this quilt book, it is number 5. This is the quilt book that has Cut the Mustard in it. So if you would like to make Cut the Mustard for your very own, it is in this book. And the giveaway prize number on it is number 5. So the question that you will need to answer is, I'm going to keep it really, really easy today. I had thought about a bunch of different ones that I could do, and I just kind of kept landing back on this one. What is it you're working on today? So I am working on Elizabeth Furniss. So answer it down below, indicate which items you are interested in winning, and in my next video, I will announce the winners. Make sure you are a subscriber and like the video, and now I gotta pause. While I was paused, my husband, he brought in the mail, and the 4th purchase that I had done from Market arrived, and that is United We Stand by Blackbird Designs. So I was really excited when I saw this one, most especially for this one right here. So this is Cluster of Stars, and I've had this one on my wish list, or my unicorn wish list, forever. So the fact that it has been reprinted makes me so happy. I cannot wait to stitch this one. It will be stitched between now and the 4th of July. I cannot wait. I also really loved this one here. This was there's a group on Facebook, and I think it was last year, it was offered, they had designed it, and it came with the pattern or the chart and linen and threads. But I didn't end up doing it because it was a little bit out of my price range. So the fact that it's in here makes me really happy because I love it. And then I absolutely love this little scissor holder. So all the designs in here I just absolutely love and cannot wait to stitch. So I love it. I can't wait to look at it more after I get the video done. Well, my friends, that is all of the cross stitching that I have to show and share in today's video. I am going to talk about quilting next, so if that's not something you're interested in seeing or hearing, this is a great stopping off point, and I will be back in 2 weeks. I thank you so very much for stopping by today, but now quilts. All right, let's talk about quilts. So at the end of my last video, I was working on my Civil War tribute quilt, and this is what it looks like. And I was assembling blocks from month 7, which is called the Siege at Vicksburg, except I am doing the other version of this, and here it is. So I had several of you guys ask where you can get a copy of this alternate version of month 7. And if you do a Google search of Civil War Tribute Corrections Homestead Hearth, it should direct you to the corrections page for the Civil War Tribute quilt. And then just search for month 7, and there is a link that you click on, and that link takes you to the alternate directions. And if you have any problems, just let me know, and I will grab the link and send it to you. But I had one of these blocks done, and I was able to get 3 more. So I have 4 done altogether, and I have 4 more to go, and this weekend I will be working on them because I would like to get them done. I love these fabrics so very much. Love it, love it. So the first block definitely took me a lot longer, but then I kind of figured out how to do it, and it's going to take me even longer because when I make half square triangles, I like to make them a little bit bigger and then square them up to the size that I need. That way I don't lose any points, and it's all just a nice, perfect, you know, points in every direction. So I plan on continuing working on those blocks until I get them done. I do plan on working on them this weekend, and so hopefully I'll have the other 4 blocks to show you in my next video. Now, there was a reason why I did not get all 8 of my Civil War tribute blocks done, and that is Instagram and my friend Retha. So basically, since after I finished Christmas Turkey last year before Christmas, I'd kind of been searching for a quilt that I could put together that was fairly simple, no half square triangles, because every quilt that I gravitate to and love always has a million half square triangles. And I just wanted to find a quilt that was easy piecing, you know, easy cutting, straight lines, nothing complicated, just blocks. And I'd been searching and I had narrowed it down to a couple. And then last week, I think it was, I went on Instagram and my friend Retha had posted a photo of some blocks that she was putting together, and she had hashtagged it Scrappy Celebration. So I sent her a message, asked her what it was she was making, and she told me about this quilt along that is being hosted by American Patchwork and Quilting magazine. And I think it's to celebrate their 30th anniversary. It is called Scrappy Celebration, and the designer is Lisa Alexander. So this is what it looks like. So if you're interested in joining along, it is you can either buy a paper chart or a PDF download. I have a PDF download and it was $6.99, and I will put a link to where you can purchase the quilt pattern if you're interested. This is what it looks like when it is done. So it's just all scrappy. I'm, of course, doing mine in Civil War reproduction because I couldn't help myself. I had to make this quilt. It just immediately grabbed my interest, and they broke it up into weeks. So I am actually a week behind. The first week you were supposed to gather your fabrics, and then the second week they assign blocks, and then third and fourth. And it's supposed to end, I want to say, around the 16th of April. So I have this week's blocks to do, and then I have one set of last week's blocks to do. And these are the ones that I got done. So these were a part of the first week's blocks, and this is what mine looks like. So I am using all Civil War reproduction fabrics from my stash and just having a really good time going through all of them. So they're not, a lot of people are going full scrap, and I usually do too, but that takes a lot longer to cut pieces for. So I just decided to do each block different. And a lot of people decided to do it that way too. So, and some people even have theirs done. Just a very fun and easy quilt. I apologize if some of these have threads on them. There's that one. And then the second block for the first week is this one. So I think I had to make 6 of each. And I love them all. Love them all. So I do plan on over the weekend getting some more of these done. A lot of what held me up is I was making project bags for my Etsy shop. And so, you know, I would spend all day making project bags, and I didn't really feel like working on quilt blocks when I was done. So these blocks here were part of the third week, and I have the first half of them done. So you were supposed to make 4 of these plus blocks, and so I did mine in the indigo and cheddar. And I love them. Love them, love them. So a lot of these were in my Tried and True, Cut the Mustard from the Tried and True book, Quilt. So it gave me a lot of nice nostalgia vibes of working on that one. So I do hope to continue working on those. I would kind of like to get caught up, and then that way when those last block, I mean, when you buy the pattern, you get all the blocks, and you could just, you know, fly through it if you wanted to. But I just decided to try to catch up with the current week, and then, you know, try to kind of stay caught up, and then that way I can get the quilt done in April. Not that it would move it. I still have a lot of quilts of my own to quilt, so it's, even if I manage to get the quilt top done, it's not like it's going to immediately get put on the quilt machine to be quilted. To just be stacked. Anyway, so that is all of the quilting that I have to show for today's video. I apologize for the rush here at the end, but my husband has an appointment here in a little bit. And so he's actually going to need the setup, and so I need to wrap it up, and then I have to take my son to work. So definitely a busy day today. If you are brand new to the channel and you've made it this far into the video and you like what you've seen, I would love if you would consider subscribing to the channel. I do upload every 2 weeks. I forgot to mention a little bit earlier, but I do have project bags available in the shop, and I just bought some more fabric, so I will continue to be adding bags to the shop in the next couple of weeks. So if you're at all interested, you know, please feel free to go check that out, and I'll put a link to my Etsy shop down below. If you would like to see what I'm up to in between my videos, you can find me on Instagram. I am Pumpkin Hollow Quilts, and I do have a Facebook page that is called Pumpkin Hollow Quilts. I realized that I forgot to show Fred. Doesn't he look absolutely enthused that I have roused him from his afternoon nap? I'm sorry. Anyway, the plan for me will be to be back in 2 weeks. I hope you have a wonderful 2 weeks. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them down below, and I will answer them in my next video. Hope you have a great couple of weeks, and I will see you all again later. Bye-bye.